So let me know, how did that land with y'all? I noticed that Hush put wow in the chat, and I wonder if that happened to be shortly after I read, when you sincerely try these practices of self observation and awareness, you'll see that you're in trouble. You realize that you had one problem your entire life and you're looking at it. It pretty much it's pretty much the cause of every problem you've ever had. Now the question becomes, how do you get rid of this inner troublemaker? I noticed that shortly after I read that, Hush typed wow in the chat. And I'm just curious to know if it was that passage that made you type wow. I wrote about that passage today, and I posted it on my Patreon because honestly, that did not resonate. I did not like that. I did not like that shit. Didn't resonate. That and the other part about you've been first you have to realize that you've been locked in there with a maniac. Yo, like I that didn't land with me. But I can totally see though how that could um land with others, depending on like where you are. Um, how did that go? How did that come up for you, Hush? Just curious. That part was crazy, but I wrote about that today because this was the quote that I chose for this week's quote. You don't have to control your thoughts. You just have to stop letting them control you. This is a quote by Dan Millman. And when I saw this quote, it made me think about the untethered soul, because Michael Singer talks a lot about these thoughts controlling you, and you allowing them to control you all your life and shit. So when I read this quote, I said, yeah, yeah, cuz like the thoughts are there. And they may not be me, but I do acknowledge that they are part of me. Okay? So let me leave that there for a moment for y'all. I rely on myself a lot and knowing my inner self. My inner self has been making decisions based on me and what is good for me. Yes, for me, I think about the logic first, then understand the emotions. I have a question, and I don't even know. I think this came from the Four Agreements. When I'm emotional, I ask myself, why the emotional outburst? Where does it stem from? Okay. So that answers my question. The logical question that you ask yourself is, where does this emotional outburst stem from? Is that what you're saying? Am I getting it? Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. Totally. So, thank you. So, if you are interested, I'm not reading this to y'all today. But if y'all, I love you. But if you're interested in um, getting in to see what I said about that and what I said about that passage in particular, go ahead and grab the Patreon link. All of my this week's quote posts are on the public side of the page. You can get them without having to subscribe. If you'd like to subscribe though and get way more access, the choice is yours and it's always there for you. So thanks everyone for reading and listening to that with me. We are going to go ahead though and get into the Padlet. I'll let anyone who has any lingering thoughts or questions go ahead and go ahead, go ahead and add some things to the Padlet. Thank you, Juice. I see what you added. And I have a couple questions to add to y'all, because these are the questions from last time. Not last time. These are unfinished questions. Is really what I mean. Is what I'm trying to say. Um. Okay, so you got what's coming up for you, and then this question. We're actually going to switch this question out. And that one is, what are some instances? Um, oh yeah, that no. This question remains. What was your experience like with the exercises in consciousness? So that question, when I say the exercises in consciousness, I'm asking when when he basically said externalize your inner roommate and make it into a person that sits next to you on the couch. How if you decided to do that, how did that go? If that's what that question is. And this one is, what are your thoughts? And Hush did a lot of answering that in the chat. If you want to add some of this to the Padlet, feel free later on. But if not, we captured it right there. What are your thoughts, experiences with your inner energy? And of course, terms to know. So let's see what Juice said. Many times I've changed my discussion because that voice thought at myself. Yeah. Also, what's coming up is I have a regular conversation with someone, and that voice bringing up something that has nothing to do with the conversation. Now we think, okay, okay, yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Juice, Hush, do y'all, who are you? Who are you? I'm gonna add that to the Padlet too. I think I'm gonna make this a discussion. I'm gonna make this um, a recurring section as well. Not your answer may change. Your answer may not change. Your answer may evolve over time. I know the way that I answer this question, it continues to evolve over time. So, who are you? Is the the ending question there? Who are you is actually the next chapter's title as well. Ain't that funny? Um, what's coming up for me is, and I will add my notes, some of them. I'll add them live right now while we're sitting here. Some things that's coming up for me. What? I thought I already approved this. Is that okay? Thank you, Hush. Mr. Hush says, I'm gonna read. I'm gonna pin that. Who am I? A lot. Father, husband, man, gamer, man in the pursuit of perfection, but understands nothing is perfect. Thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful. Hush. I'm so glad you're here for this live reading with us. Please, please, please. I know I'm aware, y'all. All right, I'm not completely dense. I know Monday coming up is Christmas Eve, but we have class on Christmas Eve. Good thing about this class is it's virtual, it's on Twitch, and you can catch the video on demand once it's finished. But check, please, if you are not here the next time we read live, which should be on Christmas Eve, make sure you catch the VOD to chapter 3, Who Are You? Because that chapter really sets us up for where the book is going to take us next. So thank you for sharing that, who you are. Juice, you could also go ahead and answer that if you like. And what's coming up for me is it a problem? All right. In moments when I feel disturbed, y'all, this is real life. And I got this from one of my coaches. I simply ask, is this a problem? Or is it a problem? Because most times the answer is no. I just feel annoyed. Like most times, whatever's happening is not really a big, major problem that's going to impact my life. It is just something that makes me feel annoyed in that moment. So when I ask myself, is it a problem? And most times the answer is no. So this just kind of helps me to get clarity on like where I need to put energy. If it's not a problem, I can let it go, like the passing trees that we read about in chapter 1. If it is a problem, I get to do more of a deep work, like like what Mr. Hush talked about, asking, okay, maybe why is it a problem or where is it a problem? The important thing though is that it's an invitation to do deeper work and learn myself more. It's not a signal to shut down. And I think that before having a certain level of awareness, I was more prone to shutting down, especially in my previous relationship. If it is a problem, this is an opportunity. Notice that after I realize it's a problem, I look at that as an opportunity for me to explore how, where, why, and in what ways is this a problem for me. Significant others will get on your nerves. Get on my nerves. But when things I used to get really irritated and take it out on a significant other. In this mindset, I realized that if it is a problem, the problem did not. It may now be like increasing and more noticeable in our relationship dynamic, but it didn't start with you. You're just helping me realize it. And another level of it is that I can now thank you for being that energetic force to help me shine a light on that for myself. Help me work through that. Help me work on the part of myself that sees that as a problem so I can release that part and no longer have a problem. Hello. So Hush says, it is the annoyances for me. Yes, the annoyances. Example, my job. I like it there, but there are certain annoyances that I can't control that comes with the job. Right. Right. So a solution is to learn to content create. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Um, do I have anything else I want to tell y'all about what came up for me or any other questions I want to? I definitely, I would have to do a whole, I'll tell you one example of an experience I had with this, excuse me, this consciousness and like taking it out of my head and like making it be a thing that lives outside of me like a person. But this example happened today. It may be a little bit more like evolved from where we are in chapter 1. But this is what happened. After yoga, this right. So okay, I I really had an intention to do sun salutation yoga this rising. I'm really into this is my new thing. Like I'm really into the sun rises and seeing them and doing my yoga at that time. Sun salutation yoga is awesome. I bang with it, so I'm hyped to do it. But sun salutation yoga happens at sunrise, either like right before or like during, which is like crack of dawn or before sunrise is mad early. Most people are not yet even up for work. Some are starting to get up for work. So I already knew that I would like to do this. I had this intention set. It's on my calendar. It's been on my calendar for a week. But don't y'all know at like 2:30 a.m. the night that just passed, I was still awake. Wide awake. Live for the night. Okay? But I know I'm doing sun salutation yoga at 5:30 too. I also know that. So at some point I do end up falling asleep. Some point after 2:30. And then my eyes flutter open. I look at the time, it's 5:31. And I said, "Oh, okay." It's time for yoga. I get everything set up. I log in. I start yoga. We do our practice. Practice is over. I'm resting in Shavasana, and I use that as an opportunity to reflect and like do a mini meditation. And so now I'm thanking my body. I'm doing these things right, and I'm asking myself. So then I'm noticing like, wait, who who's talking right now and who's listening? Like, what's happening? So this is my experience this rising as I'm laying on the yoga mat. Then I heard myself say, thank um thanks for waking up on time. And I'm like, who said that? And who's it thanking? Is it me talking to me? Or is it me talking to God? Is God in me? Right? This is all happening during yoga today. Right here on the mat. Right here. Right here. Right there. So I know. Who's having the depth of this conversation? I wasn't sure. Or was I sure? Who am I thank you? Thank you to who? Right? So that was my experience with playing with the voice outside of myself as a person outside of myself. If I do that, then I have to reconcile with um, the idea that the me who is me is just observing all of that and is like witnessing all of it, isn't always even involved in it. It's just literally experiencing it. It's like the screen. It's like the screen on a window. You, it's like the screen on a window. Air passes through the screen, and the screen is experiencing the air. It feels the air. It might even be like whipping, depending on how sturdy the screen is. It might be whipping in the wind. It's experiencing all this wind and being manipulated as a byproduct of experiencing the wind. It's even moving. But you will never hear the screen say, I am the wind. The screen is just experiencing the wind. So in that moment, I felt like I was the screen, y'all, experiencing everything.